Right there, off mute. Perfect. Did the very start? Hey guys, sorry about that.
Please mute yourself, Kevin. Okay, welcome everybody to this session where you join in to hear more about the four-year medical degree, which you can possibly obtain from an international institution, IUHS, where you're going to hear more about this program and all the details in the next 45 minutes or so. My name is Luc Mulling. I'm the moderator of today. And before we go over to the great lineup we have for you from IUHS, but also to alumni, I would like to briefly explain to you a couple of the interactive options we have. So first of all, in the chat, you can tell us where you're logging in from. Tell us, which country you're logging in from. We'll be gladly to hear some of the different countries that, would be joining us today. Thank you for doing that. But most importantly, we have the option also to interact with us with questions. So we like to hear your questions. You can write them at any time through the panel at the right bottom called questions. Also, I will be opening up a couple of pollings. Actually, there's one already opened asking you if you're a healthcare professional. Let us know. That way we can tailor the presentation also a little bit more to you. And we appreciate your feedback throughout the session. And last but not least, we have a little fun button, so to say, as well, to make it even more interactive. At the bottom of the screen, you see a button called React. If you click on that, you have a choice to interact with us. If you, for example, hear something that you like, then do let us know. All right, well, without further ado, let's go over to the presenters, as we have three presenters, as you can see. First of all, Wendy Kolanovic, if I say that right, you can maybe introduce yourself briefly and let us know a bit about your background.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Kolanovic. I'm based in Croatia in Europe. I have been with IUHS for about 4 years now, and I'm the marketing and alumni coordinator.
Perfect. And next up, Holly. I know it's early morning for you. Well, you've had a long night, I think, so probably work related. So let us know, Holly, where you're logging in from.
Hi, I'm Holly Kimball, and I'm in Ohio in the United States. And I am finishing up block 2 currently. And as you mentioned, I work as a nurse practitioner at night.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being available with us. We appreciate it. And last but not least, Kevin, thanks for also being available. We appreciate it. Where are you logging in from, Kevin?
Hey guys, Kevin Fitzgerald. I live in the United States also, just north of West Palm Beach, Florida. And I graduated from IUHS in 2013.
Perfect. Great. Well, we would gladly be hearing from you because your experiences are worth a lot to potential students that are looking to study this program as well next year. So I know that's very valuable. Thanks for joining. Wendy, we start off with you. You will have the slides here and show us some of the insights of this program. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Firstly, welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us for this presentation on IUHS School of Medicine Medical Doctor Program. We'll be taking you through generally basically our main program, which is the 4-year MD program, and we'll give you a bit more insight into what it is like to study at IUHS. I want to thank Luke and the Study Abroad team for hosting this webinar for us. So if we just head into the next slide, we can get started on learning a little bit more about us. So as we mentioned before, Holly is a first-year student. Holly, just give us a little bit more background. You're a very busy lady. You're a mum. Tell us a bit more about what you do and where you're at in the program.
So I am finishing up Block 2 currently, and I am a mom. And I work as a nurse practitioner. I work in the evenings and nights so that I can focus my days to my studies and family. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. We have exams next week for Block 2.
Wonderful. So as you can see, guys, there's a lot going on, but it's all very manageable. Being organized, I guess, is probably one of your strengths there, to manage to fit all of that in.
What was the question?
Oh, I'm just commenting, you must be very, very organized, and I know that's one of your strengths, to fit all of that into your schedule.
Yes. Lots of planning and prepping.
Fabulous. And Kevin, just let us know a little bit more about what field of medicine you're in and what you've been doing since you graduated at IUHS.
Yeah, thanks. So since graduating from IUHS, I went into a family medicine residency in Michigan, right outside of Detroit. And I became right out of residency, I became a hospitalist and worked in Florida. I moved to Florida immediately after residency, became a director of the hospital system. There's 3 hospitals that I was the director of, and Cleveland Clinic actually took those over. So I was a director for Cleveland Clinic. And then about 3 years ago, I left to start my own practice. And so now I have 2 partners. We have 11 offices, and we do a lot of acute pain care. So people that have been injured, whether it's car accidents or sporting events, and I do the minimally invasive procedures. I went on to the American Academy of Procedural Medicine, so now I do a lot of procedures at the surgery center, and my partner does the open procedures. I do the minimally invasive, and that's where we're at.
Busy times, obviously managing the clinics and staff, and we'll get a bit more into that, and how you managed to progress out of university and into that field of medicine. So just moving along. Okay, we're just going to quickly just start heading into the degrees that we offer. As I mentioned, the main degree issued at IUHS is the Doctor of Medicine. We are going to focus on it as being a 4-year program. However, you do have the option to extend the first 2 years of the preclinical program into 3 if you need that extra time to work or any other commitments you may have. With the second degree that we're offering there, the Bachelor's of Science, Doctor of Medicine, that's an additional year to the Doctor of Medicine, where we have a year of pre-med, what we call studies, and they're the foundation sciences that allow you to progress into the Doctor of Medicine program. So if you cannot fulfill all the requirements to enter into the MD program, then we have the pathway there for you available to get all that learning, all those sciences in under your belt, and to move into the MD program. Just a little bit more about us as a university. If you don't know, we're a non-traditional medical school. We don't actually have a huge campus that you need to attend in person. We're based in St. Kitts in the Caribbean, but there is no requirement for you to actually study there. As you can see, Holly's based in the US, and she's not on campus on St. Kitts. So for this reason, not being a traditional bricks and mortar college that you have to attend in person, we're a lot more affordable than other private medical schools. and just taking away the need to relocate or even to do, you know, traveling to a campus every day. It saves you a lot of time and a lot of money. So how does this all work? You're probably all asking, how do I learn medicine without having to go to a campus every day? So what happens in briefly is the first 2 years of the program, the preclinical years, you're studying mostly all of that virtually online. You will also participate in a mentorship program. So you visit with a local physician and you will spend some time in their surgery, in their clinic, and you will study cases and observe how they work, and that will help you consolidate all of your learning that you do with us virtually. We do have live lectures, so you're not actually having to you know, watch recordings or do your own readings. It is very interactive, but we'll get into a bit more detail on that later. And after that, then you will progress into the clinical years. So they're 2 years of hospital-based training. So and a few more things important to note about IUHS is that we've been delivering our education in a hybrid method, so online and in person, for about 25 years. So we have a lot of experience in educating this way. And we are a global university, so we have students located all over the world, primarily the US, Canada, and Australia. But we do have students in Asian countries, European countries, and our staff likewise located across the US, Canada, Australia, Europe, and St. Kitts. So just moving along from there. We'll just go into basically a little bit more detail about our program requirements. So right here on the screen, we've got that list of requirements where you have to have some undergraduate prerequisites to enter the MD program directly. However, as mentioned before, we do have a pre-med program that can help prepare you to get into the MD program and give you all that foundation learning that you need. So that's not to worry. We can always help you find your pathway into medicine if that's your ultimate goal. I'd like to just ask, you'll see at the bottom of the slide there two themes there: systems-based learning and problem-based curriculum. I just want to ask, get a little bit of an explanation here, and it might help you understand how we deliver this program, which is a hybrid teaching method. Firstly, we'll say, Holly, since you're in the program currently, do you mind letting us know or explaining to everyone what is a problem-based curriculum?
So I believe like an example would be our DXR program, where we're presented with a patient or a case, virtual patient, and their problem, and we assess the patient virtually. We find resources to understand their condition, understand their problem, try to come to conclusions. And then if you're speaking more to like a classroom setting, when we are live with our professors, they do a lot of clinical case questions that as a class we work through the question, the patient, and try to come to the conclusion as well. So we're constantly being presented kind of real life clinical situations and learning how to not only reach the conclusion, but find the resources that we need and understand the condition of the patient better.
And you mentioned something there, one of the resources of the interactive learning technologies that we use to deliver the program virtually, which was DXR Clinician. That's our virtual patient simulator. So that would be where you would read about a condition and then problem solve to figure out how to combine all the learning from the classroom. Is that correct, to diagnose the patient?
Yeah, so each block you're given a different patient case that you will learn about. And the patient presents with a problem, and you literally work through all of the steps. You know, how would you question the patient to kind of work through your differentials, and then it takes you through different screens. And then when you get to the exam screen, it actually has like the different instruments and equipment that you would use to assess a patient in real life. And you can click them and virtually assess the patient to the areas that you feel you need to be working up. And then you just keep working through the process, narrowing down your differentials till you get to your diagnosis. And then you go through the whole treatment plan as well.
Amazing that that's available. And I believe you can hear all sorts of other interesting things, like listen to heart sounds and whatnot as you're going through with your diagnosing your virtual patient.
Yeah, it does the sounds. It has the patient interacting back with you, answering your questions. You can order like diagnostic tests, and then it has you actually interpret what you're hearing or what the test results are showing first. And then it guides you through to show you the correct answer, the correct diagnosis.
Amazing that technology can just move with you anywhere where you're at any time of day, and you can study your program when it suits you. I'd just like to ask, Kevin, could you let us know if for the students, the listeners out there, what is systems-based learning? If you just rewind back in time to when you were a student, and how this is delivered.
Sure. So, you know, there's tons of studies on what's the best way to study, right? That sounds ironic, but it is the truth. And you know, they found one of the ways. Well, first of all, medicine is a building block. You need a foundation, and then you continue to build on that, because everything comes back to your foundation, whether it's a science or a part of the body. Nothing in the human body works on its own. And so what IUHS does system-based learning, meaning they take a system such as the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, and so forth, and that's what they teach. I believe Holly said she was in block 2. I'm not quite sure what's in block 2. It's been quite some time, but she would tell you what system that she is learning right now. And that's how you go through until you cover the entire body. So it is system-based, but during that system, you're building on your last block and becoming a complete physician, so that you have the whole thing. So system-based is just as simple as it sounds. It's working on each system of the body. You continue to build on your foundation, and at the end of the course, then you're really ready to go practice.
Exactly, yeah. So that all of that learning, particularly when you're doing some of the more basic sciences, is actually just pulling it all together and correlating it back to specific systems and how they interact with one another. So that's basically how the program is delivered, but we'll get into that into a little bit more detail later. I just wanted to skip back a slide if I can. It's not letting me, so I might just get some help with that. We were just going to touch on, just before we head into actually the program itself, I just missed out on telling you a couple of important things. So basically, we've discussed that IUHS is basically a non-traditional school, and we've got students all over the world and teaching staff. Being non-traditional, I wanted to just stress that some of the key points of, and we might hear this from some of our speakers later too, but a key point about studying at IUHS is our flexibility. So basically, as we said, you can extend the program out a year or two if you need to, if some sort of life situation happens to you. We're always there to help you achieve your goal of becoming an MD and working around life situations, because things do happen. Another one of the amazing things about IUHS is some of our lecturers, or most of them, because they're all working at top tier universities. They come from a variety of places. Some of them have been researchers for decades and have a wealth of knowledge. Some of them are Kaplan lecturers, some of them are published authors. So we really just pick the best teaching staff for you so that you can have a comparable and best level of education that you can get. And these are some of the top reasons that we hear from students of why they chose IUHS, not just the affordability factor. And so I'd like to ask Holly, back when you were applying and searching for medical schools, what made you choose IUHS?
So when I was first looking, I actually spent a long time kind of stewing on it, mostly because, you know, everyone's familiar with the traditional route. And so this was a very new route for me. And I wanted to, you know, everyone has questions when something is new presented to them. So I was really trying to get all my questions answered. And I had communications with Paige numerous times, and she was excellent with answering every single question I had. And she was very patient with every single question that I had.
Yeah, Paige is our friendly admissions director.
She's fabulous. And it made me feel much more comfortable in my decision. And ultimately, it came down to the fact that, as you mentioned earlier, I have a very busy home life. I'm a mom. I have kids that I tend to. I still work. And I wanted to be able to reach my goal without having to kind of uproot myself away from my family and my life that I've already been established in. And this program really lets me do that. At least right now, you know, for these first 2 years, I can be at home, going to my classes, doing my studies, doing my homework. If I need to have quiet time, I can go into my home office or I can go to the library. And I can still tend to my kids. I can still work. I will say that, you know, the program is rigorous. So, you know, if you're able to adjust your working hours, that's probably a good idea. But it's not necessary. It's still doable. So when I made my decision, just the communications with admissions and getting my questions answered and the flexibility that the program offered. I had talked with students that are now ahead of me that are still active, and they had nothing but great things to say as well. And so it kind of just all came together that I felt it was the right fit for me and where I wanted to be and where I'm at currently.
Amazing. And we do find that there are a lot of students like yourself who are changing careers or just leveling up from their nursing degree or whatever it may be in the allied health professions, and just moving across, and they can find that they can still do what you do. So it's amazing to hear that you are able to do that. And what about you, Kevin, when you were applying way back? What were the reasons that brought you to IUHS?
Yeah, so kind of similar thing. It's a little bit of a funny story. I was a respiratory therapist when I met my wife, and when we got married, I started PA school. I finished PA school, and about a year after practicing as a PA, I told her that I wanted to be a physician. And she said that if I can find a program that I don't have a big debt coming out of, which she thought was going to be impossible because she didn't want me to go to medical school. Well, I found IUHS, and here we are. But the same thing that Holly said, calling and talking to the, Paige for sure, Dr. Mary and so forth, they guided you through, made you feel comfortable that this was going, and then talking to students that were going through. You know, obviously there's a concern. You want to make sure that you can get licensed in the place that you want to live. And it was just, and I know it's scary because there are some bad actors out there, but this is, here I am. I graduated in 2013, and I've talked to students before I started and the program was amazing. And just like they said, the professors are they teach at the big universities. They are highly acclaimed. So you're getting the same education for quite a bit less. And I mean, it's not a joke. When I went to residency, there was 7 of us at that program, and I had zero debt, and those guys were leaving residency at about $400,000 to $500,000 of debt just to start off. And so, yeah, you start to make a little bit more money when you become a physician, but any amount of money is hard to overcome a $400,000 to $500,000 of debt. So that's what brought me to IUHS.
If I can,
well, that's a great point on the money.
If I can piggyback off of what Dr. Fitzgerald just said, that too was also a big factor for me. My family was pretty much the same way, like, that's going to be a lot of debt you're taking on. And I spoke with John in the finance office, and I can say that if anyone was being held back simply by the financial aspect of it, IUHS really does a great job of giving you options, not just the flexibility with the program itself, but also with your payment plans and things like that. And so that also played a huge factor for me too.
Yeah, that's a mission and the goal of the universities to provide affordable education so that people start their careers without a huge debt burden. And I'm happy you guys touched on that, because that's truly an important point. We're just gonna skip ahead and move on to talking about our program. What we discussed a couple of slides ago. So we were talking about the systems-based learning. So you can see here we've got 2 columns, year 1 and year 2 of the preclinical part of the program. This is where you're mostly online. And the systems, you can see them there listed. What happens at the end of these 2 years is blocks 9 and 10 is where you consolidate all of your learning, you review it all, and you prepare yourself for your board exam. In the case of students interested in the US, then you'll be preparing for the USMLE Step 1. Holly, you're in this program. What does a typical week look like for you in this part of the program in terms of lecture time and anything else that you might be doing?
Sure. So when I first started the program, I was in it, and all the information got released of, what to expect for the block. At first I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to take all this on? And so I'm very OCD. And so I created a planner sheet that a lot of the IUHS students, at least in my cohort, use now, that really allowed me to break it down so I could see how my week would lay out. And it tracks like the hours of all the assignments and everything. And typically during the week, you can expect anywhere from 2 to 4 lectures that are live during the day. Sometimes they're, morning, afternoon, evening. It depends on also the professors, when they're able to schedule their lectures. Most of them, as Dr. Fitzgerald said, they are also members of other major universities that are around, and they're active. So you can expect to have several live lectures a day. And then outside of those live lectures, you are in a platform called Lecturio, where you're watching like little mini clip videos of very specific topics that the professors chose and taking little quiz questions. And then those quiz questions actually kind of build on each other, and you continue to take them throughout the duration of all your blocks so that you're reinforcing everything that you're learning through, it's called spaced repetition. And so between the live lectures, you're in Lecturio watching little video clips and doing little quiz questions. Reading, you go into Study Center and you can watch the recordings of past live lectures, as well as if you miss, if there's, for some reason, maybe you're working or you have something going on, you can't attend a live lecture that day, then you can go back and watch the recording. But I'm definitely pretty much from the moment I wake up until I'm going to bed, I'm doing something related to the program typically. I do intertwine, my kids and my life into there, but it's definitely, it's just as rigorous as if you were in a traditional program. You just have the flexibility to kind of come and go as you need to.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great to know. It is a full schedule. I think it's important to note that it's a very busy week. Sometimes, we're saying it's like it's a full-time job to study medicine in terms of hours. So that's the expectation to get through it. However, as we said, there are those options to extend out this portion of the program that we're talking about here on this slide to 3 years and giving you a little bit of space there to work and tend to other things. After you complete that, years 3 and 4 are the clinical rotations, the hospital-based training. The core rotations are mandatory, and the electives are ones that you choose based off of your experiences in the core rotations, and you choose things that are of interest to you. Kevin, you've done this obviously some time ago, but how does the week look like on rotations, and what's sort of expected of you? What sort of hours and?
Right. I mean, just like Holly was saying, this is there's a lot of flexibility. It is less expensive, but this is medical school. Like, it is not it's not easier than anywhere else. You have to learn the same things that everybody else is. When you're done, you are a physician expected to care for humans. So the clinical rotations are just like a regular clinical rotation. So it depends on what you're in. Obviously, surgery is many more hours compared to, let's say, if your elective is dermatology, that'll be more of like banker hours. And then if you're doing critical care, you'll be doing overnights. You're gonna do exactly what the residents do. So it depends on where you're at. But it's the same thing. So, a family doctor is going to be Monday through Friday normally, and critical care is going to be whenever they need you, and you will coordinate that with your clinical preceptors to figure out what it is. But you're going to be expected to be there. That's not a part-time job.
Yeah, that's important to note. This is a part of the program where it is quite intense to work around other commitments, but it's it's worth to get through. It's really eye-opening, isn't it, and helps you guide you in your further pursuits, I guess. While we're on the topic of where to do clinical rotations for those that are interested in the United States, these are the states where we have affiliated hospitals where you can complete all of those rotations at these locations. We do have affiliations in Australia, Canada, and some other nations, but just focusing here on the US. Kevin, where did you do your rotations, and did you have to go to more than one location?
So, those locations were offered. So those have been, I believe those are the same areas. So those have been well established with IUHS for quite some time now. But I didn't, I used, I found my own because I was a physician assistant at the time and worked in a hospital. So I had a lot of connections, and IUHS worked really well with those. You can't, there's some qualifications that you have to get through that will be accepted so that you can move forward, because all this is important for for accreditation when you want to get your licensing. So I did mine in several different places. I did mine in Michigan and Florida. And I'm also still part of the Air National Guard. So I do one weekend a month with the military. And so I actually did 2 clinical rotations in the military.
Amazing. So that's an important point to note, that anyone coming in from some other healthcare profession that has their own affiliations, it is worth to have a chat to our clinical director when you get to that part of the program to see if you can use your own connections and maybe even the hospital that you currently work at to do your rotations at, because that may be more convenient to you. But obviously IUHS is always working with you to help you and accommodate you as much as possible. And as we said before, we do have the 5-year pathway for anyone who cannot meet those requirements that we had up on the screen a little while back. So if you aren't fulfilling the requirements to enter that MD program that we just went through, we can give you the year of the pre-med program, and these are the modules that you'll need to complete in order to progress into the MD program. So don't feel like there isn't a path for you just because you didn't fulfill the requirements. We have quite a few students in this program, so the same process would apply to the university if you're looking for this pathway into medicine. Okay, this is a question that we're often asked at IUHS. Where are our students and graduates located? It's important to note there's a lot of regulation around medicine, obviously highly regulated industry. These are where we have graduates, and if you're interested in particular in the US, Canada and Australia, we have a lot of connections and network there for you to work with the program. However, this list of other countries where we have students is always changing and being updated because we are a global university. I believe we've got some students currently applying into Germany. So, you know, as time passes, this list just keeps growing and growing. So it's a really interesting place to study. You meet people from all walks of life. I mean, I think we have people from students come from about 60 different countries all up at the moment. So it's a pretty exciting place to be if you're interested in meeting new people. This is just another important regulatory issue I just want to touch on quickly for those interested in entering the US healthcare system. So in the United States, as IUHS is located in St. Kitts, IUHS students are considered to be IMGs or international medical graduates, and you will have to pass through what is these ECFMG requirements. So basically that's a certification, a standard to ensure that all the physicians in the US have the satisfactory training to enter that system. The main thing here is that your university is listed in the World Directory of Medical Schools, which IUHS is. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it is a lot to digest, but I put the websites there at the bottom of the page. So head to WDOMS, check out IUHS on there and read up on ecfmg.org. If you're unfamiliar with some of these terms, they're important to understand. Just while we're on that topic, Kevin, you went through this program and this whole process. Is there anything you'd like to add to that or about your experiences going through all the STEP exams and entering as an IMG into the US system?
You know, recalling there's not like an extra test for ECFMG. It's just that, like you said, your medical school has to be listed in the World Directory, which IUHS is. And so the school helped me with that process like flawlessly. They know exactly what is needed and how to do it. So that moved relatively quickly. But you need to get your ECFMG before you can take the steps. And then the steps, once you have the ECFMG certificate, is the same exact as if you were to graduate from a school in the United States. And you know, there's the 3 steps with, you know, 2 parts. And so nothing really different because IUHS is set up to get your ECFMG certificate really quite flawlessly.
Perfect. Yeah, that is important to note. You are guided every step of the way of when to register for ECMG and when to do all of the, you're prompted by our staff to at each point. So as I said, take a look at those websites. It's really important that you understand this. And for those students interested in Canada and Australia, if you head to amc.org.au, the Australian Medical Council, you can look up IUHS there and and have a look at the different pathways. Basically, you're able, it's a pretty simple process to become a physician with your IUHS degree in Australia, and it's similar for the Medical Council of Canada. So head to mcc.ca and just check the requirements there. I believe they just need the university to be listed on the World Directory, which we are, and you can read up on all the steps there. But as I said, it's quite straightforward. And once you graduate from IUHS, it's not like we leave you there. You still have the support, as Dr. Fitzgerald mentioned, that we're there to guide you on these steps and make sure that you get the license for the country that you wish to practice in. Heading back now into the program and the university, because we need to understand, we've mentioned it a few times, being that we're predominantly online, we've mentioned the study centre, which we call the distributed online campus system. So basically you can take your university with you wherever you go, because it's all in your computer. So there are a lot of interactive resources there that Holly had mentioned earlier. There's just a few screenshots there of kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like, and this is a custom built platform just for us, our students at IUHS, and Holly's in there, I bet, every day. So could you tell us a little bit more about what is the Study Centre exactly and how are you using it? Just let us know what are the resources.
Yes, I'm in there every day. So the little screenshot that was on the far left, that takes you into your individual block. Yeah, the one on the left, you can see the little squares. So you click on the square and it takes you into your block, which is what the other screens are showing. And in there you can access your calendar, your lectures. You can go into the content for your class or your subject, where you'll find past recorded lectures, as well as your reading material. So you actually have access to all your textbooks in here. You can just click a button and it pulls you into the textbook and you can read it. There's also access to the bookstore in here, the little like IUHS shop, access DXR in here. You spend a lot of time in here because this is where you're going to get to all of your reading material and past recordings that you're going to review. Typically, before you go into your actual live lecture, you want to read the content and watch the past recording. And that way, when you go into the live lecture, you're a little bit more prepared as to what the professor is going to be going over. And then that way, when they do their case questions and case studies, you are able to interact with the professor, and it becomes more of a dialogue taking place during class and not just, sitting in front of a screen with PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, and that's the interactive sort of flipped classroom method, in that it is more of, as you said, a discussion. You're prepared, you know what to anticipate, and you probably have a few questions already ready to ask once you get in there. And just on that, when you actually dive in, you touched on something good there, Holly, that the textbooks are in there. Generally, we have a whole virtual library in there that you don't need to really purchase any textbooks unless you wish to, but they're very expensive. So it's really good that that resource is included in your tuition fees. We've discussed that there's the video libraries, the patient simulator, question banks to review your learning. You do get a detailed onboarding process. I think you might agree with that, Holly, from our student support services team, for how to use everything and where to access it. All your calendars are in there to keep you on time for when things are due and the dates of all your exams. And you can schedule meetings with your teaching staff, so you can have one-on-one sessions. I believe they call it classroom time. So there is a lot in there to access. And I don't know, do you agree, Holly, is there much more that you need to buy outside of what's provided?
No, pretty much everything you need is available both in Study Center and in Lecturio. they select all the content to really pair with the systems that you're working on at that time. I think the only resource that any of us really use outside of this is our first aid book that we just kind of pair with everything that IUHS already has given us.
Fabulous. Yeah, and that's a huge cost saving because some of these books and other resources are and huge buildings. So this is a huge honor for us to be recognized for our work. Now, the fun part. What does this all cost? You probably all want to know about this. So we've broken it up into two different sections. So the preclinical years, where you're mostly learning the sciences and are at home, are $18,900 US for the year. We do break them up into monthly payments, and the monthly payment plan is the most popular option, which is $1,400 per month. And when you do get accepted into the university and you're enrolling, there is a one-off fee of $3,300. In the clinical medicine years, so while you're on hospital-based clinical rotations, the fees are $9,900 payable to IUHS, or $825 per month. However, not included are the fees that you must pay the hospital for your clinical rotations. And these are determined by each hospital. So what we actually do is we just charge you for those, and we don't actually make any, we just pass on the fee to you. We don't actually bundle this up into some sort of package because they vary from country to country, location to location. In the US, we look as an average might be $400 or $500 US a week, but then again, some people might be in another hospital system where it's a little bit more cheaper than that. So we can't quote you accurately on what that will cost, but that's just the ballpark. You can scan the QR code there for a little bit more information and head to our website to dig a bit deeper into that. If you're interested, we can also set up, while you're going through the application process, we can also set up a time for you to meet with our finance team and go through these options as well.
And I think too, don't they offer, just in case anybody got scared off by that, there are other options too, like if you extend your plan, the 3-year plan, then you get a different type of a payment also. So the IUHS does work with you with kind of like your financial need, where you still have to pay your obligation, but they work with you to find what's going to be affordable for you while you're going through the program.
Thanks for mentioning that, Holly. Yes, that would be part of the discussion with the finance team, just to work out what you can do. And obviously, if you're able to make upfront payments, you get discounts and things like that too. So, but all of that is quite detailed and specific to your situation. But yeah, everyone is always willing to work with you. That pre-med program that we were discussing, if you need that foundation year, then that's $6,050 plus $350 per month of study. So that would be, if you do take the full 1 year to study that, then it would be $350 times by 12 months, and that would get you to $10,250 for the year. But that is again adjustable if you aren't doing all of those modules, and if you're only doing some of the modules. So this is like part of the flexibility and the ability to work with you it all just comes down to you sending in your transcripts, working with the admissions team, working with the finance team, and going through your individual situations so that we can tailor a program for you. Now, if you are getting quite interested in applying, it's quite simple. You just start with the online application form and upload the documentation that we've listed there. For example, 2 letters of recommendation written by physicians and your transcripts so that we can figure out where you're at and if there are anything that we need to help you fill the gaps to make the requirements, to meet those requirements to enter the MD program. Holly, you did this most recently. How was this process for you?
I can say that compared to my prior degrees and schools, it was a lot more simplified, and I didn't feel like I was lost in space. IUHS is very hands-on with following you through the whole process, making sure you understand, you know, where you're at, what you have that you need to still get. It was very simple in the sense of once I submitted all my documents, fairly quickly I had a turnaround of hearing about my acceptance. And then from there, you know, they just quickly move you into onboarding and orientation and all of that. But once you have your documents together, Paige and the admissions office is very hands-on with making sure that you're not kind of lost with and not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, and the process is fairly quick, as you mentioned. It might only be a couple of weeks, and you'll have a response from the admissions committee about how things are going and how you're going forward. So I know from other people it might take longer in other institutions, but we're pretty fast to act on that. If you are keen, just hit the head to that applications page via the QR code there, so you can read a little bit more about what you need to supply. It is, as Holly said, quite straightforward and quite fast to get through. We are starting on the 20th of May, the next class. You actually perhaps could make it in there. If not, September is our next intake. But just to recap, some of the things that we've been discussing today about IUHS. So we've discussed you can stay with your community like Holly did. She stayed with her family. She hasn't had to move to study. We've got the award-winning technology that delivers the university to you. A supportive team of staff that are helping you all through the process, even after when you're going for licensure. The world-class professors, as we discussed, working at other top-tier universities, our affordability, and obviously our flexibility to work with you, not just on your timing, but also the finance section of this, because that's a very important part of IUHS and studying medicine is how to afford it. Kevin, you've got a lot of experience and you've passed through all of the stages of being a student at IUHS. Is there anything else you could add about why someone should apply to IUHS if they're still thinking about it?
Yeah, no, I think those are the big ones as we covered. I mean, the flexibility, I think you hit on that, but you know, if you need to continue to work, if you're a professional already or you're with your family and so forth, you can spread this out. Like they keep showing it's 2 years or 3 years, and IUHS will continue to work with you. I don't know if they still, but I know when I was going through, I didn't need to, but I know some fellow students actually took breaks and then they came back and started right back in the block that they left off, just for personal reasons, or they needed to work more and study less. So the flexibility is really, everybody, the cost is one thing, but the flexibility allows you to, you know, continue to be a functional adult and go to medical school.
Yeah, so it's really great for a career changer or a mature student, being able to, or even to transfer from another university and, you know, just have that support network, I think, and knowing that as your backup is you could press pause and come back once whatever is happening it is over. So that's, thanks for adding to that, because that is really important to note. Just as we're wrapping up here, I just want you to know that, again, we're always available. If there are any questions, if you'd like an admissions consultation and have a chat with someone, please just scan the QR code to head to our contact page, or just jot down the details there below. We'd love to hear from you anytime. As I said, we're all in different time zones and in different countries around the world, so someone should be able to contact you fairly quickly to answer your questions. And lastly, go for it.
Can I say something real quick that we're all in different time zones and countries? Another, reason that IUHS, that one thing that I like about it is I've actually made quite a few friends, and most of them are not even in the United States. Even though it's virtual, you're not like on your own. You're interacting with your classmates on a regular basis. We chat on the WhatsApp program and have like little chat sessions. We have virtual study groups. So, if that was a question too, like, am I going to be fending for myself? Am I going to be alone because I'm in a virtual world? That's not the case. Even I have more interaction with the deans here than I did in my prior schools. They're very hands-on, and they want to make sure that you're doing well. So, you have that support, but you also have your classmates very much, despite being in different time zones.
Yeah, that's the real beauty of having a smaller university as well. You have access to your deans, who you probably would never even know who they are in a larger institution. Here you have the expertise from the top level down supporting you. And of course, the students, you get to know a lot of people along the way. So I don't know, Kevin, do you have any experience with the students after and your peers since you've left IUHS?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's a great point that she brought up, because sometimes it seems like, you're going to be in a box or a bubble because you're doing this from home, but you will make friends immediately because people are going through the same exact thing you are. And not only friends afterwards when you're done, but helping you get through everything when you have a problem. They're going through the same thing. And so you can study, like she said, with people. So, I mean, other than just being at the convenience of your own home or your own city, it is a medical school that you'll interact with people. And I still have friends from the class. You'll see that they'll tail. Some will be ahead of you, some will be behind you, but we all keep in touch. So that was a great point.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I thank you guys so much for contributing to today's presentation. And for those of you watching, please follow us on our social media. We're always updating when we've got another event or intake dates, alumni profiles and so forth. So stay in touch and follow us. But yeah, thank you so much. Luke, have we got any questions?
Yes, we do. So I am coming back in, and thank already everyone for joining us, and especially the detailed experiences that were shared by Kevin and Holly. Thanks a lot already. We had indeed some questions. Let's go over them. One of them was from Karimullah, if I say that right. For residency of the MD students, do you have some agreements with some hospitals in United Arab Emirates?
We have some one-off agreements, and we can arrange, most likely. Our clinical director will always work with you to find a placement, but we do have some connections and we have had some students there. So something would be arranged, yes.
Okay, great, thank you. And we're getting the thumbs up, so hopefully that answered that question. Lisa has a question. How does the IUS help students successfully match into residency, especially in countries where it can be competitive for foreign graduates like the US?
Specifically in the US, we actually have a really good match rate. I believe in the last resident matching program, we had something like over 80% of our students match in the first round. So I think just not only do you have the support after and you're going through this program, but your experience of having gone through it and excelled most likely in in your rotations, it ends up shining, and you really we really are doing better than our counterparts. Other IMGs, I think, as an average, they only get about 60% match. So we're doing really well.
Great. Thank you. Next question from Karimula. Is this approved by the GMC? And also, will the degree be awarded as an MD or an MBBS?
It's an MD, not an MBBS. And as the GMC, there is a different process to get. Yes, we have graduates there, yes, but it's a different process. But we can chat to you offline, and we can go through that in a little bit more detail. This is a longer conversation. So leave your details, and I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, great. Thank you. Question from Vivian. When will the September 2024 admission be updated on the application portal?
Oh,
Not sure. It's not. Otherwise, maybe here we need to verify that, I guess.
yeah, we'll take a note of that. Thank you. We'll have a look.
Thanks for that.
But you can
I
apply
will
anytime. Anytime that you head to that application page,
Yeah.
you can upload everything. It will hit our admissions team, and they will contact you, and they'll ask you which month a session you want to start in. So whether it's September or May the following year. So that's fine.
You find the link on the screen now. If you click there, it will go to the website from IUHS to the application form. So there you should be able to upload the documents and follow the procedures. Good. I will also paste the link in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, because we take applications all year round. So there is no specific cutoff date. You can just apply, and then you can work with the admissions team to decide which intake you would like to be put forward for.
Okay. Good. Let's see. Next question we received. We received one more from Lisa. Is there an in-person graduation ceremony after completion of the MD program, or is that also online?
We do try to organize them, but we've had a bit of a setback with the pandemic, and we're just trying to get back on track. And we will have be going back to in person. So yes, that will be something that's coming back online. So yeah, sorry about that for the students who missed out over the pandemic, but we will be catching up.
Great, thank you. Vivian is asking, how is Australia clinical replacement organized? Is there any specific hospital?
We do have a few affiliations in different states of Australia. We can go through that in detail in another conversation. But yes, we have quite a nice group of Australian students there now. I think there's more than 20 of them. So yeah, that we have locations everywhere, and our clinical director will work with you to find your location where you're based and find the closest hospital to you.
Perfect. And Rija was wondering if it's too late for the 20th of May 2004 intake.
Well, definitely we will try, and there is a possibility to try and get that in. So if you have everything ready as per the application page in terms of your transcripts, if you grab your letters of recommendation, there also is a $150 application, which is non-refundable. I do need to mention that. So yeah, that once that's all paid and everything is uploaded, yeah, there should hopefully be some time, but we can always expedite that if you're in a rush.
Okay, great. Thank you. And let's see, I think the last question so far I've seen is from Gareth. I have a master in being a physician associate and work at a register level. Can I do the course faster?
Generally speaking, no, we can't make it faster. We need our academic committee to have a look at what you've done and what can be transferred over. This is a very difficult question to answer without looking at the paperwork. So the best thing is to always just to apply, send everything in that you've done, your CV, all of your prior learning certificates, so that it can be assessed. Because like we said, it's a highly regulated industry. generally you can't speed through a medical degree, just to answer that in the short answer, without knowing anything else about the individual situation. But it's best to send everything in and then have the academic committee contact you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hope that answered
Sorry,
that
I just
question.
wanted to
Yeah,
say
go ahead,
one thing.
Kevin.
I'm sorry. One thing about that. I wanted to say that exactly what you said is true. If there's medical school that they can transfer, they'll look at that. But I promise you, I dug for years. There is no such thing as a transition from an NP or PA to a medical. That there is no school that gives you credit for NP or PA, including IUHS, because it is so highly regulated. There was a myth out there for several years that you could just do a shorter course to become a doctor. Please, that is not true.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
confirming that.
The content is much more in depth as well. So it's not like you're really repeating anything that you've done before, because you're just learning all new content.
Thanks for that. Thanks for adding that, Holly, because yeah, you've got that experience as well.
Okay.
Thanks, Luke.
Great.
Thanks for hosting our event.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you very much. And indeed, those were the questions we've received so far. I don't know if there's any last question. We can still take it. I do like to ask the audience actually to please answer the polls, and that would be appreciated, because that gives us a bit more idea about your situation at this stage. Also, for the people watching the recording, by the way, I know a lot of people do these days. If you're watching the recording, you can still participate in the poll. You can actually still write questions as well. They will be sent through to the staff of IUHS. And so for that matter, thanks for all the people that have joined from the different parts of the world. I hope this was useful to you. And last but not least, from my side already, thank you to all of you, Holly, Kevin, in your busy work and study schedules. Thanks a lot. I'm sure your insights and your experience with this program, that's the most valuable, because that's really what the future students can learn and what can hear from. So that's very useful. Thank you.
And Wendy, I wanted to say something. There were a couple people who were interested about IUHS from your Facebook social media pages, and they had messaged me because I am assuming they had seen me like heart things and things like that, and they had messaged me asking me if I was a real student, and I said yes, and I actually guided them here. So I'm hoping they're in here, because they said that they did register for this event. But I just wanted to comment to it, because two of them are not in a clinical background. They're not in healthcare, and they were asking, like, is this a program that they could do? Are there other non-NPs, non-PAs, things like that? And I explained to them that there's people of all different backgrounds who met the prereqs, but are now in this program. I know that there's some teachers and lawyers and acupuncturists and all kinds of different backgrounds that come here. So I just wanted to put that out there, because that seems to be a question I keep getting in my inbox on Facebook.
Yes, so that there is that, as you saw, the 5-year program with the BSMD degree, where you can have that pre-med year in addition to your 4-year MD, and you can get ready and just have that straight path into medicine. So definitely, school leavers or someone that doesn't have an undergraduate science degree can definitely join. I will be posting this recording so that they can see that you're real on our social media as well, and that you're not fake.
Great. Well, thank you. And indeed, for clarifying that and bringing students to here as well, Holly. But last but not least, also thank you, Wendy, for your time and efforts in this coordinating this session. And I already get a lot of thank yous from the audience. So great to see. I'll leave you on the screen here with the links to the, this is to the social media. By all means, in the chat, you will find also the link to the application page. So let me repost it just to make sure. And maybe last words over to you, Wendy.
Like I said, we're always here, so just reach out to us, info@iuhs.edu. I'm happy to answer your questions and be in touch and, get you into medicine sooner rather than later. If you, we often have a comment come from a lot of students saying when they found out that they could about IUHS, it was like a dream come true. They could actually fulfill their dream of becoming a doctor because they didn't see that how they could do that in a traditional college. So taking this non-traditional route might be for a lot of people, and might not be something you knew a lot about. So I hope this was useful for you, and I hope we can make your dreams come true and you can become a physician.
Great. Thank you. And everyone else as well for your poll feedback. That looks great. So it seems we have done a great session. Well, good to see. Bye-bye for now for everybody. Have a good day, well, morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.